go. All right, legends, welcome to another live stream. Yes, it looks like everything is working fine. Just want to make sure. Remember to smash up that like button on your way in. Let's do a little bit of technical analysis here on the price of Bitcoin. And as per the thumbnail, it never ceases to amaze me how the market lines up for a bullish and a bearish case scenario right before we have very important news that's going to come out later today. Okay, is it going to smash to the upside or is it going to smash to the downside? This is now the question. Okay, because there is a scenario, a really bad bearish case scenario that I want to share today, but there's also a nice little bullish case scenario that I want to share. And then we can discuss the probabilities of each scenario. And I do favor one scenario more over the other scenario, and not because I'm biased towards that scenario. It's just what the technicals are showing me at the moment. So without further ado, legends, remember to smash up that like button. One thing that I did remember to do today, as per the last live stream, is when I talk bearish, I'm going to turn red. Okay, there's a little bit more red on the sides, but I see now because I'm here. Okay, this is my berry. I will put some more red into this background. Okay, I didn't know it was going to come out so funky wonky if I only share this little strip that I'm in at the moment. And when I talk about the bullish case scenarios, I will switch to green. Okay, so that you all know I'm now in bullish mode or I'm now in bearish mode. A good technical trader will always have a bullish and a bearish case scenario. And then your job as a technical trader is to identify which scenario carries the highest probability. So let me make myself neutral here again. If I remember to click on all these buttons, okay, let me make myself neutral. Let me say hi to the community, Mr. Joan. Hello, Dewald. Welcome to the live stream. Absolute legend, Elliott wave counter. I see you was counting some Elliott waves on the 1 minute time frame inside of our Legends Pro community. Absolute legend. I used to do that, but I don't do that anymore. Right, hello legends, welcome Joan, great to see you here. Stefan, always appreciate your support, the mods in the house. My bro from South Africa, I greet you, especially you are doing well. Yes, I am doing well. I hope you're doing well as well. I'm not sure in which part of South Africa you are from, but here in Johannesburg area, Gauteng area, it is raining, it is miserable, but it's also very welcome because we had a little bit of a heat wave, so it just breaks that warmth a little bit. Okay, top the morning to ya. Yes, I agree. Should have red on left, right on green, bearish, but now bullish, vice versa. Yeah, now I'll make a plan with those screens, guys. I need to improve them. Maybe I'll just stick to a normal green in the background and a normal red in the background. Irina, always great to see you. Yeah, you usually watch the streams after the fact, but now you're in the live stream. Great to see you. Yeah. Okay, that's enough. I will go through some comments in a little bit again. Remember to smash up that like button if you haven't done so already. It's your ways to give back for the time that I spend to give you the analysis and the alpha so that you can learn to do this by yourself. Hopefully, one day you won't need to watch my videos anymore. Maybe you'll just watch it for confirmation. This is my analysis. Let me compare it to Dewald's analysis. Okay, well, let me compare it to Andy's analysis. Okay, they're seeing levels that I'm not seeing, and I'm seeing levels that they are not seeing. This is how you help each other out. It's great to have a trading buddy. If you can find yourself a trading buddy, and this is why we have a community, because it's like-minded people trading together. Okay, it's nice to bounce those ideas around, because someone also pointed out a scenario to me this morning that I didn't see, and I was like, okay, I see it. Let me share it with the community. I think it was Adam, if I'm not mistaken. Right. Without further ado, what we all here is for the technical analysis. Legends. So first thing I want to discuss is, okay, let's go here onto the 1 hour time frame. Okay, let's first go to the Coinbase chart because the Binance one doesn't, has that week to the downside. So let me just clean this up ever so slightly. Go to the 4-hour chart. Okay, so for now, and this is the danger, guys. This is now the danger that everyone is paying attention to. On the Coinbase chart, okay, and on the CME chart, we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure. And for now, we have a 3-wave structure to the upside. And this is now where the danger keeps in. Okay, can you see how the market is positioning itself for something massive? Something massive is about to happen in the next day, hours, okay, maybe week. Something massive is about to happen because when you have 5 waves to the downside and you have a 3-wave corrective structure up, could this happen? Yes, and I'm going to discuss this scenario, okay? And hopefully we get an ABC, we stop and we continue back to the upside. It's a couple of scenarios that I'll discuss with this bearish case scenario. Then, from a bullish case perspective, well, can we count an impulsive structure inside of here where this was a C wave? This was a B, a C, you made the high, this is your correction for this entire impulse, okay, and we now are building up momentum for continuation to the upside. So the market is positioned in a very interesting way, for lack of a better word. Right, so let's get back here onto the Binance chart. Okay, guys, and the reason I'm still sticking to the Binance chart is because this is where I do most of my trading. The levels are just, for me, better respected, especially from a swing failure perspective, which is one of my favorite trading strategies. It has still the most amount of volume traded in the world. And when you have a chart that has a lot of volume, well, that's the chart that I want to derive my volume and my point of controls and my daily levels and my weekly levels. Okay, this is the chart that I'm going to look at. From an Elliott wave perspective, the Coinbase chart works the best. Okay, there's no doubt about it. So I think I'm going to switch my Elliott wave analysis to the Coinbase chart, and I'm going to do my trading analysis on the Binance pair. Okay, so now the danger. Let's talk about the scenarios that could potentially play out over here. Okay, and I'm going to discuss the bearish case scenarios, and I'm going to discuss the bullish case scenarios, and then lastly I will discuss with you which scenario for me as a technical trader, based on what I'm seeing on the chart, carries the highest probability. And hopefully by sharing that, I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot and then the opposite plays out and then people tell me how bad I am at technical analysis. But I mean, I have to put my I have to stick my neck out, right, for the technical analysis. And it's not because I'm biased. It's purely based on technical analysis. Yes, that like button needs some alpha. Definitely, the like button should not be bearish. Welcome, Mr. Crypto Big Brains. Glad to see you here. Terry, Baldy, Air. Okay, let's go. I'm going to dive into the local structure here to the downside in a moment. First, what I want to do is I just want to focus on this structure. Okay, let's go bearish, guys. Let's go bearish first. Let me switch on the dark background, the dangerous background. Okay, let's go bearish. Bearish case scenarios is we have formed a WXY to the upside. Okay, if you look at this structure, like I said, on the Coinbase chart, you have formed a 3-wave structure to the upside. Okay, you formed a W, a flat in a X, a ABC flat in a X. Okay, you could even move your X to that low, doesn't really matter. And you have formed an A, B, C in a Y wave. So there is your 3-wave structure to the upside. After you make the high, now you have to count impulses back to the downside. If we're going to take this low and go to $95,000, $96,000, you need to form an impulsive structure to the downside. So what's going to happen in the next coming hours is going to be absolutely crucial so that we can either invalidate the scenario or start giving it higher probability. So let me take the scribble here out the way. So what is most interesting is what's happening over here. So If this, well, not, this is the high, not if this is the high, this is the high. Okay, you formed a contracting diagonal inside of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then you have a 3-wave structure in a wave 2, and now because you already overlapped this pivot, so I have to now label this a contracting diagonal as well. And I will discuss some of the probabilities, because I know if you experience like Joan, if you experience an Elliott wave theory, you're already going to tell me there's a problem. I know there's a problem. Okay, but let's entertain the scenario. So what you want to see is a 1, 2, 3, 4. It needs to reject soon, and you want to see a 5 to the downside. We need one more leg to the downside. Okay, because you have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then you get a 3-wave corrective structure. This becomes 1, this becomes 2, and then after this, all hell breaks loose, and we absolutely smack to the downside. Okay, like what happened here. All hell breaks loose, and you absolutely smack to the downside. Right, and we don't know how deep number 3 is going to go, because they can get very aggressive to the downside. So you will, I think if you can read between the lines, you will see based on each scenario that I'm going to discuss now, which one carries the highest probability. But I will make it very clear towards the end of the live stream. So make sure that you don't leave until the end, because that is where I'm going to give the probabilities. Right, so problems with this structure. Okay, it is very rare to have a contracting diagonal within a larger contracting diagonal. Very rare. Second thing is, it is a contracting diagonal, and I'm just stating what Elliott wave theory states, guys. It's not me being biased. That a normal count, okay, an impulsive count or a normal corrective count, something that does not have diagonals inside of it, will always carry a higher probability than any structure that contains diagonals. Okay, so that has to be said. But we've had many diagonals play out on Bitcoin. I'm just saying, based on probabilities, you ideally do not want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 corrective structure and continuation to the downside. It carries lower probability. So now you need to figure out as a technical analyst, well, what else can I look at? If it's not contracting, is there something else that I'm not seeing? Okay. Something else that we might not be seeing is a 112, which carries higher probability than a contracting diagonal. So let me just switch this off. So basically what you are forming is a 1, 2, a 1, 2. That's your invalidation. Not allowed to take that high. You form a 112, nested 1, 2, and you fall. You just fall. Okay. So the best things for the bulls, if you want confirmation as a bull that we are not going to go to $100,000, $95,000, you have to wait until price claims that high, because that will invalidate a nested 1-2. That will invalidate a contracting diagonal. It will start invalidating the bearish case scenarios. So you have to unfortunately sit on your hands and be patient. Okay, as long as this high is not claimed, the bearish case scenarios could still play out. So you can see that the market has positioned itself very nicely, okay, for what if a 1-2, 1-2, and bang. And you can build another 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, and the more 1-2s you have, the harder you're going to fall to the downside, because it's building up momentum. You have to think about it as the more 1-2s you have, it's a spring that's being compressed, and when it gets released, all hell breaks loose. Okay, so for the moment, we have a potential for a 1-2 and a 1-2. And there's your contracting diagonal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, okay. Very deep retracement. And now you're going to build another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC, and all hell breaks loose. So the market is positioned, unfortunately, in such a way that we could absolutely smack to the downside. If you look at this structure, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, W, X, Y. Well, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, 5, 4, 5. This could get really ugly very quickly here to the downside. So that is the bearish case scenario that I am keeping an eye on. Okay, so let me go back here to the Coinbase chart, and just on the larger time frame, something that I need to point out. Okay, on the 8-hour time frame, let me just quickly discuss this. It might not all be doom and gloom to the downside, even if we take this low again. So I just need us to be prepared as a community. Okay, and I still have my bearish background on. So for those of you that's just joined the stream, when you see this slight red shade, dark shade behind me, I'm talking about bearish case scenarios. It will flip green quickly, and then I will talk about the bullish case scenarios. Okay, so we have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 inside of a contracting diagonal. You made your high, and you have an A in a 3-wave structure, you have a B in a 3-wave structure, and you have a C in a 5-wave structure. So you have a flat. You have a A, B, C. Yes, I am teaching you guys the ABCs, okay? But you have a flat. Claim the high, claim the low. That is a beautiful flat situation where you stop out all the early shorts. You stop out everyone that longed over here, so you've basically reset the market. And that is the purpose of a flat structure. They are specifically powerful in resetting the market. So it's done its job, right? It's reset the market. It stopped all of these people out, and it stopped all of these people out. And now people are like, well, now we're here smack bang in the middle. Now what? Are we going to continue down, or are we going to continue up? What on earth is going to happen? And this is why I love Elliott wave theory, because Elliott wave theory can give me directional bias. Okay, I know I get comments from people saying, if your Elliott wave theory, it's a bunch of BS, whatever the case might be. But I can tell you now, since I started this YouTube channel, every single consolidation and every single probability on the larger time frame has played out. Every single one. Okay, especially on the larger time frames. Guys, we're going to take the high again. When we were here, I bought altcoins. I bought Link. I bought Ethereum. I bought Doge. Do you guys remember? For those of you that's been here, like Irina, okay, you know that I bought over here. I bought Bitcoin. I just bought here, and everyone was calling for a bear market because the structure told me it has to take out the high again. And it happened during this structure as well. And it's not because I am beautiful and I am great. It's just what the technicals are showing me. It gives me directional bias when I use Elliott wave theory. So regardless of what happens in the corrective structure, I'm looking to add to my position and build a nice little spot position, because I know there's a good probability that the high is going to be claimed again. And every single time so far, okay, so far, touch wood, every single time it has played out. Okay, based on technical analysis and combining it with Elliott wave theory. Well, Elliott wave theory is technical analysis. Okay, so now, oops, let me speak about worst case scenario. I got distracted. I distracted myself. Okay. I remember, Crypto Big Friends, yeah, you were here as well. I remember, you remember? Okay, when guys, you don't understand, okay, the flack that I took from people when I bought over here. I bought altcoins over here. The amount of resistance and flack that I took, and I just kept on telling everyone, it feels so uncomfortable to buy. But that is why I like it. There's too much fear. People capitulated here. People sold all of their holdings. I saw messages from like serious influencers saying that I'm out. I've sold everything. We're going down, guys. We're going down. And here's me fucking buying. Click buy, and I felt like an absolute idiot. And you also start doubting yourself, but I've programmed my brain to buy fear. We were in extreme fear over here, and then next thing, ding, okay, claim the highs. And then when I did live streams over here, I told everyone I bought there, because then there was people here that told me, why did you not tell us that you bought? And I said, I did. You weren't here, because retail and most people only come back when there's bullish momentum. When there's shit in the farm, or there's shit on, there's a storm, people leave. The live streams, 50% of the people leave. And I'm not saying it's any of you guys, okay? I'm not saying it's any of you guys, but that's typically what happens here on the live streams, is that I notice that when we have insane bullish momentum, the views go up. I see new people here. Everyone's like, Dewald, great. And I was like, you're a new person, okay? And then when this happens, they're all gone. And this is, you know, that's where I bought. And then they come back when we're over here. And you know, why didn't you tell us you bought? Was it because you weren't here? Okay. Anyways, I'm just having a little bit of fun here, guys. So worst case scenario, let's look at this structure. Okay. Sorry, guys. I'm just having some fun. But, you know, I'm talking to myself basically over here. I'm reading your comments, but I'm talking to myself. So, whew, never thought I would be in that boat. Okay. Entertain myself. Laugh at my own jokes. In any case, you are the best despite the TA. Thanks, Irina. I really appreciate it. Right, so legends, let's keep this simple. If you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you have an A, B, and you have a C, okay, that's your C, that's your B, and that's your A. After a 5-wave up, okay, that could be the end, because from a timing perspective, it finished after the 0.382, okay? But now, this is where it could get a little bit confusing. After you have a C, okay, I know it's going to get a bit confusing. Let's just be simple. Let's call it, okay, you can get a W, because an ABC gives you a W. After you have, let me just clean this, okay, you have a W. That's where you get a W. I got asked this question from community members the last couple of days. Dewald, when do you consider a WXY? Well, I only consider a WXY once I have an ABC, because it's the C that gives you the W or the A. But I don't want to confuse it now. Let's just leave it at W. Okay. Then you form an X. Okay. And then you form a 3-wave structure in a Y. But it's still a corrective structure. After the Y, you expect price to continue and take the high. So what I'm trying to highlight over here is that even if price falls to the downside, especially if it falls in a 3-wave structure to the downside, okay, it's going to be easier to analyze that it's a corrective structure, especially if this is a WXY. A, B, C. It finds its feet maybe inside of this consolidation area, scares the hell out of everyone, like what happened over here. Okay, people just leave the streams, they get liquidated, not interested anymore, but the market structure is still intact, and then you continue up in the bull market. Okay, this could also be a A, because after an ABC, you either get a W or you get an A, but the end result is the same. Instead of a 3-wave structure, you're going to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, then you get an A, a B, and a C. Okay, it's the same result, but you're looking for a higher low and continuation to the upside. Okay, so what I'm trying to highlight here is it might not be all doom and gloom even if we crash to the downside. It could potentially be a great opportunity to buy stuff at really great prices again. Okay. The only caution that I'm highlighting over here, only caution that I want to highlight over here is that if price falls, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, worst case scenario, it's a 5-wave structure to the downside. We have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-wave structure to the downside. So this could become a 1, and that could become a 2. Now this is the most dangerous scenario. This becomes your 3, and if price stops and it finds its feet, it needs to go up. If price consolidates here again in a 3-wave structure and it takes this low again, that is where things are going to become dangerous, because now you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that is dangerous, because what happens after a big 5-wave structure like this to the downside is you get a 3-wave up and continuation to the downside, and this could potentially be the start of the bear market. So if we do get the crash to the downside, I'll be analyzing this structure like a hawk, because if we get a 4 and a 5, that is where I exit. Okay, people have asked me, Dewald, shouldn't you have exited in August already? Well, there's my exit plan. But I need the structure to show me the way. And for the moment, based on the current price action that we have today, the probabilities are still high that we're going to claim this high before we claim the low. Unless price action shows me a different route. But based on what I see at the moment, I can only make decisions based on price action I see at the moment. I can't speculate on the future based on price action that hasn't played out yet. So for now, you have a 5-wave structure up and you have an ABC. This could be the end and we're going up. So based on the price action that I have available today, that is your scenario, okay? Your lows in and we're continuing to the upside. Unless this becomes a W, but I can't label this a W yet because I don't have enough price action. Okay. Right, so I quickly just wanted to show you guys, worst case scenario is that you either form a 3-wave structure down or a 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it needs to stop. It needs to stop. Okay, in the zone, it needs to stop and turn around. Worst case scenario. If price does this and takes the low again, I'll be here on the stream telling everyone that I'm preparing to exit some of my positions. Okay, I've obviously got different portfolio, guys. I've got a long-term Bitcoin portfolio that I'll never cash out until I'm 70 years old and old gray here on the live stream, hopefully still one day sharing technical analysis. Okay. Right, now, that is basically the worst case bearish case scenario that I do see at the moment, is that we do have a W, X, Y, ABC, okay, 3-wave structure in a W, flat in a X, and that's your top, and you have 1, 2, 1, 2, invalidation is $116,000, and then we absolutely tank to the downside. Now, what I want to do now is, yes, you've seen the color change, okay? Now we're going to talk bullish. Okay, so for all the bullish people that ran away, you can come back now. Okay, we're going to talk now bullish case scenarios. Right, so I know that there are people looking at a leading diagonal. Okay, leading diagonal can have 5 or 4 3-wave structures. It doesn't matter. But as long as every structure is 3 waves or every structure is 5 waves, I do think that 3-wave structures counts better at the moment. You have a 3-wave structure in a 1. You have a 3-wave corrective structure. You have a 3-wave structure in a 3. You for now have a 3-wave structure in a 4. You go back up in a 5-wave structure, you take the high again, then we make a ABC corrective structure, exactly like the leading diagonal on the 8-hour time frame, exactly the same. You form an ABC, it can be a flat, okay, C to the downside, and then we continue. I cannot give this scenario the highest probability because it's a diagonal, and according to theory, diagonals always takes backseat. Okay, so definitely something that I'll keep in mind. And once price does form this price action and we are over here and starting to chopping to the downside, I will be ready to long. So it's a scenario that I'll definitely keep here in my folders because I know that sometimes low probability scenarios can play out. So I'm definitely keeping it in my folders. So we could have a bullish structure, but we need to take the high. Okay. And then you're most likely going to reject SFP again. You form an ABC. Okay, it finds its feet. Nice bullish CVD needs to build up against these pivots as price is falling, and then we continue to the upside. This becomes 1, this becomes 2, and we absolutely rocket to the upside. Okay, like I said, I can't give this scenario the highest probability because it's a diagonal. The scenario from a bullish perspective that carries the highest probability, even higher than the bearish case scenario, is because it has no diagonals inside of it, is a 112. And this is also the most bullish structure, because when you want to have explosive momentum to the upside, you ideally want to start the structure with a nested 1-2s. Let me give you an example. If I go here onto the 4-hour time frame, okay, look at what happened. Where was it? I mean, yeah, that was a good example. Okay. Let me go, yeah, this was the best example, okay? You have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. It looks like a contracting diagonal. Can you see? It looks like a contracting diagonal. You're expecting an ABC and then continuation, and it just flies, because nested 1-2s always takes higher probability than a diagonal. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, bang, and the rest is history. And we absolutely just exploded to the upside. And the more 1-2s you have, the greater the momentum to the upside. Yo, Mr. Simon Jones, see you here in the chat. Okay, so this is why the nested 1-2s inside of this scenario looks great. Okay, because if we want to finish off the bull market in euphoria from a psychology perspective or psychological perspective, okay, you want the structure to start building up momentum. 1, 2, 1, 2, and you want to fly here to the upside. 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, and I mean the third wave can really extend. Easily go to $135,000, $140,000. Okay, maybe we build another 1-2. Maybe we build another 1-2. And the more 1-2s, the better, but it starts looking like a contracting diagonal. Can you guys see? It mimics this scenario. Okay, look at this. It mimics this scenario. But instead of this, it continues. You don't get that. And it actually carries higher probability than a diagonal. This scenario carries higher probability than a diagonal. Okay, so this is the most bullish case scenario that I have on the chart. You have a 1, okay, ABC in a 2, okay, so that's your first 1-2. Then you have another 1-2, and now this is where it becomes a little bit tricky. Let's go here onto the 1 hour time frame. Just quickly want to explain to everybody. Whoops. Okay. Now, I have counted this. You can count this as a 5-wave structure to the upside. I'm not going to nitpick the smaller time frames. You can count a 5-wave structure to the upside. Okay, you can also count a 3-wave structure. 1, 2, 1, 2. Now the question is 2 in? Because you have already an ABC. 2 could be in, it's done. And now we expect upwards momentum. Or we form a larger WXY. And this is something early this morning that I shared with our community, our Legends Pro community. I said, guys, wave 2 is either in or it will be in over here. Where you basically formed a C, you create a W. Remember, guys, what I just showed you on the higher time frame. You go back up in a 3-wave structure for an X. You do not claim the high. And then you form a 3-wave structure to the downside in a Y. And then what I'll do is I will move to over there. And then what you get is a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3 to the upside. I would actually prefer number 2 to be in over here, because it will create a little bit of a fake out. Let me explain. Okay, from a psychology perspective, I would prefer number 2 to be in over there. Because if I take a trend, I'm just going to keep it simple here, guys. If I take a trend and I track this upwards momentum, can you imagine if price falls down here, it bounces on the trend, and that little A and the B and the C creates the fake out below the trend? Do you know how many people are going to short this little bad boy? The breakout traders, okay? They are going to say, ooh, price is below, let's short. Stop loss, stop losses. This is where liquidity is going to build up. These two zones, massive liquidity is going to build up there. We have weakness, because now everyone's looking at the bearish case scenarios that I've also discussed. And then what if price gets acceptance back above? You formed your WXY and you get acceptance back inside the trend. and then all systems is to the upside. Okay, so from a psychology perspective, I would actually prefer, and this is something that I gave in my update early this morning to the Legends community, is to say that yes, there's a chance for wave 2 to be done. And from a timing perspective, if I take a time fib from this low, let me show everyone, if I take a time fib from this low to the high, well, that low was made after the 0.382. So there's a chance that the correction could be done. It was made after my red line. Okay, and you guys know how important time is to me. If this fell here and it made the low before the 0.382, I would have said there's a much higher probability in a bullish scenario that we are going to continue the correction. But because now the low was made after the minimum requirement, there's a chance that the ABC could be done, and now we continue to the upside and we do not form a WXY. Right. I hope these scenarios are helping you guys from a trading perspective, what to look out for. I'm not particularly going to discuss trading setups, okay, today. I'm reserving that for our pro community, but I just want to discuss the probabilities and the scenarios because you know what to look out for. Okay, so now another thing that I would like to discuss is the following, the range high. Now I'm going to come to, let me put myself here back on blue. And then I'm going to go through comments, guys. Just want to wrap this up from a probability perspective. Excuse me, just need some water. Have you heard the prediction from Josh Mandel that BTC going to hit 444K on 8th of November? I have. Okay, I have. But I mean, that date is around the corner, and Bitcoin is literally going to have to go up in a dildo here to the upside in order to reach that price by that time. Unless it does this, it can happen fast. Anyways, probabilities. So I want to highlight two things from a probability perspective, and then you guys will see why I am giving the probability that I'm about to share with you the highest probability based on technicals. So from a technical perspective, okay, I want to get that right there. And we call this, because I discussed this, range high. Okay, do you guys remember some of the range highs that we've played? I'm trying to think, where was this one? I know there was a range high here somewhere, guys, a range high. Anyways, let me just discuss it. For those of you that's heard me talk about the range high and the range low, okay, now you know what I'm about to say. When you have this, an empty space, high volume that kicked in over here, a massive drop to the downside, and that first retracement that you make before you get another drop is what I refer to as the range high. And if it's to the upside, that will be the range low. And it actually played out to perfection both on Bitcoin and Ethereum, what I've highlighted last week. The range high and range low played out to perfection. Okay, so the rules for this strategy states that when you have a range high, price should tap and go. It should tap the level and leave, which it did. It left, but it came back and it tapped it again. So the rule of the strategy states if you tap this level twice or multiple times, it increases the probabilities that you're going to fill the inefficiency, even with a retracement. So now we got the retracement. Okay, we can still retrace, bounce on the trend, maybe get that ABC and then continue. So based on the rules for the strategy, because we tapped the level twice, it states even with the retracement, you are going to come and fill this inefficiency. Okay, so reason number one is we tap the level once, we tap the level twice, which increases the probabilities that regardless of the pullback, we are going to fill the inefficiency. at least come and eat up the high at $122,000. Technical reason number 2 is that a multi-1-2 scenario here to the upside carries higher probability than a diagonal. And now we are still stuck with this to the downside. Okay? And that this bearish case scenario also has a potential 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So if price falls here and it makes another low, then we have a diagonal situation going on here, which means that this scenario carries the highest probability. Because you have to consider normal impulsive structures, normal counts, corrective structures before you start considering diagonals. Okay, so the double 1-2, and based on the range low, the bullish case scenario carries higher probability. There you go. It's not because I feel like it. It's just what the technicals are showing me at the moment. Right, but I have discussed the bearish case scenarios. So if we do get the bearish case scenarios, because we all know it's a game of probabilities, most often the high probability scenarios play out. But sometimes the low probability scenarios play out. So we just need to be prepared, and this is why I've shared all the scenarios that I'm seeing at the moment. So that if we get a crash to the downside, we know where to pay attention, we know what to look out for. If price continues here to the upside, okay, it fakes out the trend, it gets acceptance back above, well, that's a great place to put your stop loss. It's a great place to enter because you're most probably going to rampage here to the upside. Okay. So I don't have to spell out to you how you need to trade this. You just need to wait until price shows you direction. So now you guys can see that the price is so well positioned from a bullish and bearish case perspective. It's either gonna, or it's gonna, right before the FOMC interest rate decision later today. Very well positioned. But from a probability perspective, I have to say that the probabilities are still higher to at least fill this inefficiency. We tap the level twice, and a multi 1-2 carries higher probability even with a deeper retracement. Okay, this structure is still intact. You still have a higher low. Okay, you have a higher low. If price wants to come down and create a fake out, you still have intact market structure, higher lows, and you have higher highs locally. So as long as this trend can continue creating higher highs and higher lows, okay, the trend is your friend until the very end. That's basically what I wanted to discuss over here. Guys, remember down in the description what I want to share with weeks, guys. Weeks. If you have not signed up with weeks, maybe you got burned, on the 10th of October when everyone lost so much money. Weeks has a special promo running that they will give you 50% a futures bonus on the money that you deposit. So if you deposit $100, you'll get an extra $50 to trade with. It's only for new people. So if you haven't given Weeks a go just as yet, here you go. Weeks has got an amazing promo here running at the moment. You get 50% cash back. Okay. And then on Bluffin, you all know I love to trade on Bluffin. You deposit some money, you trade a little bit, and you get 15% cash back to trade with additionally. All you need on both of the exchanges is an email and a password, and you can start trading. If you want to join our Legends Pro community, link is down in the description, and that's where myself and Andy and Dylan drop the alpha first every single day. Okay, so now if you don't want to listen to me going through the comments section, because now I'm going to read through some comments, you're more than welcome to leave the live stream, because this is now for you guys. I want to now pay attention and read some comments here on the comments section. The only way, in my view, we would get anywhere near that price target of 444 is if within the FOMC they cut rates by 2 points or more. Yeah, definitely. Without that, it's nothing. It's a nothing burger. I know that that guy that predicted it, he asked some chat AI to give him a prediction, okay? And it's based on a prediction that a chat, okay, let me go here to the daily time frame. Guys, we have to be realistic over here, okay? I mean, if we look at the previous bull cycle, okay, if we look at this absolute explosion that we had from this low to the top here, okay, it looks like a damn straight line to the upside. It still took from the low to the high. It still took almost 400 days. Okay, it still took almost 400 days, a year, more than a year. Okay, a year and a couple of months for this dildo to rampage here to the upside. So I'm not sure how on earth we are going to just do this. Okay, because that's already December. Sorry, I need to go up more. Okay, we literally need to do this. Okay, and that's not even straight enough because I'm already at 30 December. Look at the time there at the bottom. I'm already at 30 December. You guys can see how it's absolutely crazy. Price literally needs to go up in a straight line. Okay, doesn't make sense. Anyways, we all know that price moves in waves. It moves in waves, and the waves take time. So I mean, if you want to get a dildo here, it's still gonna wavy itself here to the upside, right? So maybe we'll get to 450k or 444 like he predicted, but it needs to happen in waves, and it's going to take a little bit longer. So if the prediction is going to come true, I'm just entertaining the scenario because I know a lot of people are talking about it. It's still going to take a lot of time. Because even if just by me drawing out this over here, it's already July next year. It's already 26 July, August, round about here. So you can see how powerful the explosion needs to be to the upside. Okay. And we all know that the 4-year cycle it's supposed to be finished now. The 4-year cycle theory. Supposed to be finished. It can overrun by a couple of months, make no mistake, like I've did in my update the other day. But yeah, 444, okay, unless the 4-year cycle theory gets completely invalidated and we go into a super cycle. We literally just go into a super cycle. Okay, and you have that curve to the upside. But I'm not here to talk about crazy scenarios like that at the moment, guys. Based on technical analysis, I'm just keeping it simple. Based on technical analysis, the probabilities are still high that we're going to claim that high before we claim the low. Once we claim the high, I will start sharing some other scenarios. I do have an insane super bullish scenario, but that scenario doesn't take me to 444. Okay. Right. Hey, Dewald, on average, what is your percent profit? I definitely need to work on taking profit, and many times I'm up 30 and 40% OTC. My average percentage on my major portfolio, guys, I've got a couple of accounts that I play around with, okay? But on my main portfolio, where I need to pay my bills, I need to buy food, on my main portfolio, I average about 15% a month. Sometimes 20%, sometimes 10%, sometimes 5%, sometimes 30%. But on average, it's 15% per month. On a large portfolio, I am more than happy with 15% per month because I don't have to trade aggressively. I don't have to FOMO into trades. I can wait for high probable setups. So for me, an average of even 10 to 15% is great, depending on how large your portfolio is. Okay, I'm not here to try and double my portfolio every week or every month. Okay, I do that with my play account. Sometimes I'll throw $1,000 or $50,000 into account and I'll say, okay, let's go play. And I get lucky and I triple the account in a couple of weeks. Sometimes I liquidate them. Okay, but it's money that I'm prepared to lose. On the daily volume, is still decreasing. Yes. And this is what's concerning at the moment. And this is why I say, guys, there's a high chance that you could literally swing the highs again. Okay, in a 5-wave structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that could be the end. That could be the end, especially if volume continues to slope down. And then we could go into an ABC. Okay, remember, after a 5-wave structure to the upside, you form a 3-wave structure and you continue to the upside. And maybe this is where we'll see the increase in volume again, because if this is a wave 1 and this is a wave 2, third waves carry the highest amount of volume. And it is concerning that volume keeps on tapering down. And these are some of the clues that I'm waiting for, because in my super bullish scenario, I'm waiting for volume. That's what I'm waiting for before I discuss it. I have, guys, a super bullish scenario that could literally fly here to the upside. But I will only discuss that scenario once I see this. Volume needs to start increasing, because only once volume starts increasing does that scenario start carrying higher probability. And if price starts pushing here to the upside and volume starts to increase, green volume, not red or purple volume, green volume, I ain't selling. I might be buying more. Okay, might be opening up more swing positions. So I'm waiting for that. But if price pushes here and makes another high and volume still decreases, yeah, that's not going to look great. Then I'm looking at about 100, guys, I'm looking at a conservative target of $139,000. 139, decreasing volume, there's a good chance we're going to roll over. If we hit 139 and volume is significantly starting to increase, we might be onto something where we can push to 170, okay, first target, $200,000, second target, third target. But yeah, volume is not playing ball here at the moment. Yeah, so basically no euphoria. Moody motion, definitely. I'm not... okay, it might, it might be the first time in history where we end a bull market with no euphoria. Because we did not end this peak with the amount of euphoria that we ended this peak and this peak. Because here, do you guys remember, for those of you that were here during that bull market, do you remember that everyone was calling for $100,000? There was so much euphoria in the air. People were selling pixelated pictures of rocks for millions of dollars. NFTs went crazy. Pixelated shit of anything just sold for ridiculous amounts of money. Bitcoin is the king. It is going to surpass gold. Okay, like there was so much stupidity in the air. I'm talking about stupid euphoria. I'm not just talking about people turning a little bit bullish. I'm talking about there was stupidness in the air over here. That is usually a topping signal. That is a topping signal. I have not seen this stupidity over here at any of these peaks. I've seen a little bit of euphoria, people getting excited at each top. But I have not seen this yet. I haven't seen it. And the buy cycle indicator also shows it. Okay, we are still in extreme, where are we? Are we still in extreme fear and greed? Okay, let's go check this out. Oops, what is that? No. Ooh, clicking on all the wrong buttons here, guys. Where's that fear and greed? Is it this one? Okay, well, we jumped, guys. We jumped to neutral. Okay, we jumped to neutral. But do you guys remember this update that I did a couple of days ago where I discussed the fear and... why is it bringing me up these things? Okay, do you guys remember where I overlaid the fear and greed according to the tops that we've created here? Okay, do you guys remember that update? If you haven't checked it out, go check it out. It's basically a video update where I discuss the probabilities for the bull market to potentially still continue. Okay, when you overlay where we had extreme fear. Okay, we had extreme fear over 90. Oh, extreme greed. Sorry, guys. Extreme greed over 90. Over 85. Greed. There was so much greed. There was so much greed. Okay, even with this pullback, people were still like, nah, we're going. Okay, this is a buying opportunity. And it was a buying opportunity, but we swing the highs and we went into a bear market. I'm not seeing that euphoria. So, who's that guy that made that comment? Moody motion. So yes, if we are going to invalidate the 4-year cycle theory, it will be the first time in history where we ended a bull market with no stupid euphoria. Okay. Yeah. What else can I say? Dewald, do you think ETT will hit new all-time high? Well, who's ETT? Who's ETT? Guys, I'm not going to do altcoin analysis right now. Okay. I'm just going to stick here to the price of Bitcoin. Problem is there is euphoria in the stock market. Yes, and it's strange that that hasn't spilled over into the crypto space. Okay, so there's a theory that some top analysts are debating at the moment, is to say that when the stock market starts cooling off and they start losing their momentum, well, that money needs to go somewhere. So there's a theory that states perhaps when the bubble explodes inside of the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and gold, people are going to spill that money over into crypto. So while that starts consolidating and slowly getting ready for a major correction to the downside, we could see an euphoric push in Bitcoin. Because, I mean, those are, guys, that's a lot of money, okay? It's a lot of money. So it's a theory. I don't know. We'll see. Guys, I make my decisions based on technical analysis, okay? I don't make decisions based on noise and social media and what people are saying and so forth. Yes, gold also got euphoria, definitely. How likely do you think we are to hold the fixed volume profile, point of control, consolidation last week and the bounce? Let's go here onto the 1 hour. Okay, so you're basically talking about this little range over here. Now, no, doesn't want to load up. Okay, there we go. Ah, that's a good bouncing zone. By the way, thanks for pointing this out. Kevin McGill, thanks for pointing this out. Very good level. Okay, look at that high volume. Very good level. So regardless of Elliott wave theory, you know, you have momentum to the upside. You have a point of control. If price gets there, it's definitely a bouncing zone there where you can claim the high again. Okay, you maintain the bullish structure, higher highs, higher lows, and we continue momentum here to the upside. So without knowing anything about Elliott wave theory, you know as a trader, your local trend is to the upside. You have high volume that could provide, together you have diagonal and horizontal support. So definitely a good bouncing zone to get continuation back to the upside. I like it. I do like it a lot because it's supported by volume. Okay, resistance. You broke out, support. So if you come back down, support, you could continue here to the upside. Okay. Show chat the BTC rainbow band indicator. Show chat the BTC rainbow band indicator. I'll have to go and check that out, and then maybe I can share it during the next stream. Okay, Dewald, could you tackle the scenario I mentioned on the Legends group? It's Bull Runner. Oh, yes. This was a scenario that was tackled or highlighted to me by Mr. Bull Runner. Okay, so on the smaller time frame, do I still have it here? Yes, I do. Okay, now this, guys, this is small time frame analysis here on the 5-minute time frame. Okay, I do like to reserve this type of analysis for the pro community. So if you want to join the pro community, the link is down in the description. But Mr. Bull Runner, yes, you're quite right. We did speak about the scenario where you formed the top. You have a wave in a 3-wave structure. You have a B in a flat, and now you formed a 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, or 4 is over here. Okay, 4 is over here. We go down for a 5th wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You bounce on the trend, that naked point of control, and you have an A, a B, and a C. And you continue here to the upside. So definitely trading opportunity. And we do also have, if I'm not mistaken, we have a weekly point of control at $111,000. So make no mistake that I will be paying attention to this level. I actually want to put some alarms, guys. I need to put some alarms. Okay, let's put some alarms. I like to put a couple of alarms in case I don't hear one of them. So Mr. Bullrunner rightfully pointed out the scenario. It does. I mean, price is falling here to the downside. Okay, but there is also a scenario where you have an A, you have a B, and you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So your C wave could be done. Okay, your C wave could be done. And now what you want to see is, did we take the high? Yes, we did take that high. So maybe you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ugly expanding structure, not beautiful. Okay. Or you have a W. You have an X. You form an A, B, C. Same result. Same result. Okay. Whether it's a W, X, Y, A, B, C, same result. So this could still be part of a corrective structure. This could still be part of the fifth wave. But the end result is the same. When price hits this level, I'm going to be paying attention. I'm going to be paying attention. I don't care how we get there, but I'm going to be paying attention when we get there. Okay? The rainbow indicator is popular for its simplicity and visual appeal, providing a straightforward way to gauge Bitcoin's current price phase relative to historic cycles. Crypto Invader, I will definitely have to go and check that out. Okay, I'm not a big fan of indicators. You'll see when I do my technical analysis, I never use indicators. I don't use moving averages. I don't use RSIs. I don't use MACDs. I don't use any lagging indicators. The only indicator I use is CVD, which is a real-time indicator. It's the only indicator that I use. That's it. Okay, so when people usually recommend indicators to me, I'm always like, oh, another indicator, but I will definitely go and have a look at it, especially if it's, you know, nice from a higher time frame cycle perspective, like the Pi cycle indicator. I know everyone's crazy about the 200-day moving average. I don't really pay attention to those things, guys, because I don't need it to trade every day. I don't need 20 indicators on my charts to trade because I trade price action mainly. I trade price action. It's the best way to trade. I hate indicators too. Yes, you don't need an indicator, guys, to be a profitable trader. And if you have 5 or 10 or 16, 15, 20 indicators on your chart, and you had to even go and buy the top tier subscription on TradingView because you can't load all the indicators, I can almost guarantee you that you're not a profitable trader. If you're trading with more than 5 indicators, I would even say more than 3 indicators on your chart, I can almost guarantee you that you are not a profitable trader. Because all the profitable traders that I know mostly trade price action, or they have 1 or 2 indicators that they use for confirmation. That's it. And that's something that I teach in my course as well. Nothing more accurate than a clear price action. I know Stuff for One, he loves his price action inside of our Legends community as well. He's just like, stuff you guys, stuff the indicators, guys. Just look at the price action. I'm feeling bearish today. The price action looks bearish, and true as Bob, the price falls to the downside. And when Stuff for One is feeling bullish, then price climbs to the upside. Always nailing the price action. Dewald, do you think ETH will hit new all-time high? Yes, I do think ETH will hit new all-time high. Okay, let's go and check out ETH, guys. Do you guys want a little bit of ETH technical analysis? Because I'm done here on Bitcoin. Okay, I mean. What a... Just want to see, guys. I mean, this, guys, I can tell you now, when I saw this on ETH, when ETH created this top, and you have a 3-wave structure to the downside, okay, it doesn't matter what happens here. It's a great buying opportunity because the probabilities in eating up this high is so high, regardless of how, even if it had to do this and it took the low again. I don't care. When I see a 3-wave structure to the downside, anything in this zone becomes a great buying opportunity because you know the probabilities are so high you're going to claim that high again. But if price Okay, this is just some tips and tricks of the trade. If price did this, and it took the low, I would not have touched Ethereum again. I would have most probably cashed out my position over here with a retracement. Okay, 3-wave up. Okay, it could fall here to the downside. Anyways, that's why I was buying these dips, guys. I was buying all of these dips, and I got very aggressive. And for those of you that were in the live streams, I told you I was buying so aggressively over here. It's because I saw this. And when you start eating up lows, and the lower you go, the better. That's where you want to start taking advantage of the price of Ethereum. And guess what happened? We took the highs. Probability played out. It took a very long time to play out. So that's why you just need to hold on to your spot bags. So I don't have any swing trades open. Well, I didn't have any swing trades open on ETH. But now let's discuss this local structure. So I'm just going to keep it simple. Okay. You have a nice bullish structure to the upside. And price is going very sideways, very shallow, which is a bullish sign. It's already such a bullish sign. When price chops sideways and it doesn't really fall, it just goes sideways, because you can have sideways corrective structures. It doesn't have to go deep. It can go sideways. Okay, and the more it goes sideways and the more time passes and the more it goes sideways, the higher and higher and higher the probabilities become that it's just going to shoot to the upside. Okay, but from a basic technical perspective, when you have momentum to the upside, you expect a correction, higher low, and you continue to the upside. Okay, now the question is, what I always like to look for is that, is it time for the correction to be done? Is it time? Did it hit my minimum requirement? So I look at the structure and I take my time fib from the low to the high. Just take the lowest point and the highest point. Now this is where it becomes very interesting. Remember, guys, what I said. I'm not going to go through all those scenarios again, but we made this low before the 0.382. But there's a but. There's a but. Okay, because when you form an A, B, C, okay, that gives you a W. You go up in an X, or maybe that was your ABC, okay? You have an ABC, and now you have your A, B, C, D, E. So you form your triangle in a Y wave. Okay, currently above the trend, and now you continue. So there's a chance that your correction, guys, without being too complex and too complicated, there's a chance that that low is the low for the corrective structure. Okay, it doesn't mean that your corrective structure has to make another low. It just means that your correction needs to finish after the 0.382. That could be your lowest point, but your correction actually ended here in a WXY. Okay, maybe you have your W, X, and your A, B, C, D, E. You have your triangle, okay, in your Y wave, and now it's going to break to the upside. So there's a chance that this impulse has finished its correction. There's a chance. Okay, and I'm going to show you the invalidation. Let's go to the 1 hour time frame and just zoom into this little structure. Okay, what I have seen often, just wait for this to load up. Okay, what I have seen often, if this is your A, B, C, D. Okay, let's just do this. If this is your A, B, C, D, E. Okay, so that's basically your invalidation. So I'm going to take my magnet. Okay, I'm going to make it red. I'm going to call it my invalidation. So in a B, C, D, E, if this is the end of your corrective structure in a Y wave, okay, price is not allowed to take this low again. If price takes that low, we might be looking at a larger corrective structure. But in all, you have an impulsive structure to the upside. You have a very shallow correction, so it still has a lot of time to breathe, a lot of space to breathe to the downside. Still forms a higher low and continues momentum to the upside. But if this is the low in a WXY, what I have sometimes seen play out is that price loves to come back and scare the crap out of everyone. Okay? Remember, it's not allowed to take this low. So often what I have seen in WXY in a triangle, you have a triangle and a Y, is that price sometimes loves to come back, and just before it hits that low, it turns around. I've seen that happen often. I have played many WXYs where there's a triangle and a Y, and I've seen that happen many times, where people chicken out of their trades, or they have their stop losses a little bit higher. Okay, they get stopped out, does not claim the low, and it gets momentum back to the upside. So the invalidation for this WXY is this low. Price is not allowed to claim that low. So if you want to have tight risk management, well, that's where I would put my stop loss if you are inside of an ETH trade. Okay, so nice little bounce here as well. Okay, you broke out. You come back for a retest, maybe it bounces here, maybe it doesn't even get acceptance back inside the trend, and then it moves around. So what I would be looking at is, from a simplicity perspective, now I go on to the 15-minute time frame. Okay, and now what I will be tracking, if you want to have confirmation, okay, you're basically forming a bullish pennant. Okay, so you do nothing until it breaks this trend. Okay, I'm going to put my alarm on over here. So if you're not sure, you're not in an ETH position, wait for this trend to break. If it wants to fall, let it fall. If it wants to bounce, okay, maybe it comes back up. You know where to put your stop loss, you play the breakout, and we go back to all-time high. There's a couple of ways in which you can trade this. So if you are not sure, you can wait for confirmation. You might get a higher entry. So price might do this and then break out. Okay. And then you're like, oh man, I wish I caught that entry. But that is a better confirmation trade because you swept the liquidity. You got acceptance back above. You're breaking out. Wait for some high time frame candle closes outside of the trend. I would rather have that risk and a more confirmed trade than just entering, adding. Oh shit. Okay, how much still do I need to add? And it just keeps on tanking to the downside. And you're like, oh man, maybe I should have just waited for the trend. It's your plan at the end of the day. It's your trading strategy. I just want to check here something, guys. Okay, unfortunately, I need to go, legends. I have run out of time. Remember to smash up that like button. Go check out Weeks, 50% cash back. If you deposit $100, you get $50 extra to trade with. It's only for new people that have not tried out the exchange just as yet. Thanks for joining the live stream. Until the next one, cheers for now.